Hello out there. We're just getting settled in here. So we'll start in just a couple of minutes. Wherever you're comfortable, Dane. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's having a good evening or whatever time of day it is for you when you're watching this. So just setting up to be comfortable is an important piece of it, so that we want to set ourselves up for, I'm not going to use the word success. That's not a relevant or appropriate word for what we're about when we're meditating and practicing mindfulness, but setting ourselves up for the highest possibility of comfort and ease, mixed in with the best balance of alert conscious presence. And if that turns into a successful experience, then all the better. But we don't measure such things in this tradition. We simply attune to what's present, what's real in the moment. All right, so let's get started. We'll sit for about a little more than 10 minutes or so, and then we'll do a little chat, and then we'll sit for another spell. So bring your awareness to your seat. Step one, get comfortable. And feel the surface, whatever is supporting you from beneath and connecting you, grounding you into the earth, and allowing you to channel the earth's energy down through your physical form into a place of stillness. Step two, notice your breath. You might feel comfortable closing your eyes. You might feel comfortable allowing the gaze to simply cast downward, resting on a steady point of focus. And then step three, allow your awareness of your surroundings to be a soft interchange with the awareness of yourself inwardly. So there is ambient sound regardless of where we're sitting and with whom we sit. Let that filter through your intention to be at relative ease. Even if some of that ambient sound is ingredient for distraction. Just note that. Feel the breath arrive and feel it depart. Note once again if there's the need to make peace with your ambient surroundings. Note once again the breath, following it in and following it out. Notice the inevitable tendency of the mind to wander. And without judgment, invite it back in with the next breath. Simple, patient presence. Noting what is. A soft return whenever necessary to the next breath. Feeling the body's full and real presence in the moment. Receiving the energy that we breathe in. releasing that which we give back out. As we invite the mind back from its inevitable wanderings, we can plug back into the earth that holds us in this moment, tracing the roots of grounding energy into the seat. And then perhaps we get a little boost of, a little rebound of perk rising back up. Just a few more moments here. As we have just another minute in this sit, I'm simultaneously a fan of scratching the itch if it needs to be scratched, and also considering the level of that need. Can we just observe without responding immediately? And sometimes those itches simply dissipate. Just another minute here. And now invite in a slightly deeper breath, a little more energy into the moment, and return your awareness to the immediate surroundings. Welcome back. Thank you, Chris. So tonight I want to talk about the second of the Buddha's 4 foundations of mindfulness. Just in brief, the 4 foundations are mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of our feelings, mindfulness of the mind, thoughts, and mindfulness of the way of life, the Dharma. So zeroing in on mindfulness of feeling, emotion is what we're looking at. So at any given moment, right, the body and the mind and the environment and our circumstances are creating forces that result in certain feelings. And the mindfulness part is to dig into the feeling inside of the feelings. And we can generalize every emotion pretty much into one of three categories, which are either pleasant, or unpleasant or neutral. And this is what the Buddha considered to be, in our rough way of translating ancient language, the feeling tone of the feeling. So there's the feeling, like the anger or the elation or the lack of feeling and the numbness. And then there's the feeling tone underneath it. The anger has a feeling tone of unpleasantness. Elation has a feeling tone of pleasantness. And a lack of emotion or a numbness has a feeling tone of neutrality. So the challenge here, when we are calling upon ourselves and maybe each other to be mindful about the feeling or the current tone of our feelings, they can exist as objective states rather than states of mind and emotion that hijack us into the unskillful behaviors that result from emotion without awareness. For example, if I feel hungry, that's an unpleasant state to be in. But if I'm aware that I'm hungry, if I can recognize that feeling tone of unpleasantness, then I have the information I need to eat some food. We've all heard that term, being hangry, right? That's the unpleasantness combined with the lack of awareness of it. And then all of a sudden we're yelling at our friend for no good reason. If I feel super relaxed in a certain state, a certain setting, and I'm aware that I'm relaxed, then I have the information I need to truly enjoy it. Simplicity. Right now, I feel relaxed, and I know that I probably won't feel relaxed the next time something comes up, but right now I don't have to worry about that future thing. I can enjoy this pleasantness. And if I feel neutral in a certain situation, I have the information I need to know that I really am truly impartial about it and not just being in a state of avoidance or zoning out or tuning out critical happenings in my environment. So it's not the feeling tone itself that causes our behavior to become destructive. It's not the unpleasantness or the pleasantness or the neutrality that's the problem. It's the lack of awareness of it that turns pleasantness into grasping or greed or addiction. It's like, I like this thing and I need more of it so I can keep it forever and ever and ever. And we know that's not realistic, right? It's the lack of awareness of unpleasantness that turns it into hatred or misery or hopelessness or despair. It's the I do not choose this thing right now, but it's going to pass sooner or later. It's the lack of awareness of neutrality that turns it into delusion. Well, I'm not really neutral about this thing. I'm deluding myself to think that I can continue to sustain this state, whatever it is, or this relationship, or this abuse. I had an experience this morning that was so perfectly aligned with this, because the teaching was on my mind because I had been reading about it and thinking about what I wanted to share tonight. And as so many of my examples do, this takes place during a dog walk. I was in the park and I was watching a woman struggling with her very badly behaved dog, doing all the things with the dog that I have learned with serious training from our dog trainer not to do. She was making every mistake in the book. She was like, tugging on the leash, having a tight leash. She was saying all these kinds of words to the dog that was clear the dog didn't understand. And so she was displaying anxiety from herself. So she was sending that right through the leash to the dog, like all the things. And for a few minutes, like a good few minutes, my thoughts went straight to judgment of her, straight to it. And I saw myself sort of like, like rolling my eyes and thinking bad things about her, and what right does she have to own this dog, all the things. And then I was like, oh shit, that's unpleasant. It's unpleasant for her, and it's unpleasant for me to be watching her. And immediately, all that judgment went away, and I found compassion in its place. So instead of letting it turn into or taking root as aversion or mild hatred, it just turned into this simple awareness. This is what mindfulness is. This is unpleasant. And it led to compassion. And guess what followed that? Pleasantness. And then I carried on. Now, listen, I know that the stakes were low. I didn't know her. We were well past her, so there wasn't going to be any confrontation between the dogs. So it's like our dear teacher Eric Schiffman says, practice on the easy stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was quite the gift in that moment of the awareness or the knowledge of this practice. So for our next experience in sitting, you can check back through your day, whatever day you've had. And can you land on something innocuous that was unpleasant? Low stakes, none of your big problems, just a small one. A bad driver, or an impatience with a call center. I don't know, whatever. We have them every day. Right? Come back to that moment. Set yourself up for some contemplation and take yourself back to that moment. Make the note, the mindful calling in that there was unpleasantness. Have an understanding of where it might have led or could have led into the unskillful realm of judgment or hate or self-loathing, maybe. And then make the note of just this simple wisdom. Yes, unpleasant. And then what's underneath it, or what could be next? Patience, empathy, forgiveness. We're not seeking to turn unpleasantness into pleasantness. We're seeking to recognize that which is any one of those three states, those three tones. And then to watch ourselves soften in that pool of recognition. Melts our hard edges a little bit. Sometimes the simple naming of the feeling tone is enough to snap us out and wake us up, as if we've said, that's a dream. And then we're out of it. The nightmare's over for the time being. Another few minutes here. Bringing breath in. Allowing it to smooth back out as we exhale. Bring in the next breath. Add a little oomph. Let the exhale release. Come back to awareness. So, seeing our feelings as separate from our self-identity is key. We can see our present moment feelings, and we can recognize the tone that accompanies them as one of the full range of normal human emotions, rather than my feeling is all about me. So we don't over self-identify. And this gives room to allow all the natural rise and the natural fall of feelings to occur. It gives us space. And then we become more in tune with just the comings and goings of normal human emotional reality, like the tides. They sweep in, they sweep out. There is nothing we will ever do to change that as long as the moon is in this Earth's orbit. That's the way it is. And that's the way it is with states of feeling, of emotion. And the truth is, like, any feeling is unsatisfactory if you game it out to the end, because a pleasant one turns unsatisfactory the moment we think it should have lasted longer than it really did. It just leaves us wanting more. I experienced this when I was leaving my beloved vacation spot in Cape Cod last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? But I was there twice, so it could have been in June. Doesn't matter. Happens every time. Before I drive away, I stand on the landing, I look out at the ocean, and I feel the tears coming. I don't want to leave. I want to stay here forever. I want it to last. Right? It's pleasantness while it lasted, but I'm trying to grasp on and hold on to it longer than it's going to be, and that turns unpleasant for a moment. And I sit there and I was like, what is this? Why am I crying? Oh yeah, pleasantness didn't last. It turned to unpleasantness. And unpleasant ones hurt us too, and they leave us scrambling for ways out. How do I get out of this unpleasantness? How do I, can I stay for 3 more days? Right? Or whatever it is. Neutrality, that feeling tone of neutrality, game it out, it's going to be a problem because we can't be neutral in this world. We have to show up for each other, right? And we have to celebrate each other. To experience joy, a joyful presence is to be human and support the relationships that we have and celebrate each other, right? So neutrality doesn't work either in the long run. Twice in my life, I've been stung by a bee. So I'm going to talk about perspective here for a minute. Only twice. First time, I was a little kid, I don't know, 5 maybe at the most. Stepped on it in the backyard with bare feet, ran in crying hysterically, mommy, fix it. She makes the potion of the baking soda in the water and puts it on and holds me, and I'm crying. It feels like life is over. This pain is too much to bear. It hurts so badly. The sting keeps on stinging, right? Second time, I'm an adult. Same thing, in my backyard, barefoot, step on the bee. Ow! Run in, get the baking soda, mix it with some water, stick it on. It's over. I don't cry. I know what happened. The difference is, when we're kids, time is stretched out because it's a bigger percentage of our total lives. And additionally, we don't have this benefit of experience and wisdom to say that, oh, I know what this particular pain is. It's a simple bee sting. It's going to go away. It's not life-threatening. As an adult, a bee sting, it's a flash in the pan. We've lived all these many years. We know exactly what it is. We know we're going to be fine. So that's the perspective that unpleasantness can give us. The problem is that as adults, that there are bigger hurts and they have more significance. The stakes are deeper. So deep that even age and maturity can't really quite cut through them. So it's like we feel like children getting stung all over again. And many of us are not so lucky as to have our mommies there anymore to hold us and to make the paste and make it better. We're the mommies ourselves in so many cases. Or the friends, or the partners, or the everything that we are. But all these hurts, all these unpleasantnesses, all these ceasing of pleasantnesses are opportunities to pull back and take stock and dip into these age-old wisdoms, like this sort of mindfulness of feeling tone that help us gain perspective and differentiate between the feeling itself, the sting, the tone of it, the unpleasantness, and the nature of all of it as tides rolling in and tides rolling out. As stormy as they may be, they will clear. So we avoid the pitfalls of letting the unpleasantness turn into all of the destructive behaviors of hatred or aggression or hopelessness. And we avoid the pitfalls of all of the feeling tones of the pleasant things turning into the destructive behaviors of graspy, greedy, addicty, pleasure-seeking behaviors. We can just say, oh, it's pleasant right now. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm going to keep breathing through all of it. Let's do some of that now. Simple breath. Simple awareness of what is true for you right now. Is there a feeling tone that you can identify? And is there a pattern of behavior that often will follow this feeling tone that you might also be able to identify and perhaps shift to a different pattern, a skillful one, a wise one? These are just a few lines from Walt Whitman's As I Ebbed with the Ocean of Life. You oceans both, I close with you. We murmur alike, reproachfully rolling sands and drift, knowing not why. These little shreds indeed standing for you and me and all. Your friable shore with trails of debris, your fish-shaped island, I take what is underfoot, what is yours is mine, my Father. So just a last few thoughts that all of these emotional states are just debris on the shore. And if we can walk amidst, on top, and in between them with grace and ease and a little bit of patience and wisdom and compassion for ourselves and for each other, then we recognize the unity of it all in the end, the inescapable interconnection. Thank you so much.